Nigerians deported from the United
In-depth stories and breaking updates that matter to you.
To face the challenge to be able to fulfill the dream and the aspiration.
From local events to global affairs, we've got you covered. Stay with us as we unravel the stories shaping our world today. This is Adamimogo 107.7 FM News.
From the studio of Adamimogo 107.7 FM, it says o'clock.
A suspected bank robber leading officers.
The presidential candidate of the
News is always on the go, and we get the stories firsthand as they happen, where they happen. We bring the information to you undiluted, verified, accurate, balanced, and without bias. Told from the human angle perspective, we interview the actors and the experts. All facts laid bare. From Nigeria to the rest of the globe, we deliver the news on time and in time. This is News Express on Adamimogo 107.7 FM in Doekiti.
Good evening and welcome to News Express on Adamimogo, a flagship bulletin covering national, state, politics, business, global entertainment and sport news. In the news, former PDP federal government pledges reversal of educations. Federal government pledges reversal of deductions from employees' compensation. Former PDP stakeholder claims Nigeria is heading backwards politically. Ekiti government reacts of victimization claims by sacked microcredit boss. Details of these and other stories in a moment. My name is Kingsley Iniovosa. Now the news. The federal government has pledged to reverse the deductions from the employees' compensation scheme managed by the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund to ease tensions with the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC following the threats of a nationwide strike by the union. The Employees Compensation Scheme is a social insurance program providing financial support to the employees who suffer work-related injuries, illnesses, disability, or death. Assistant General Secretary Christopher Nyeka said that the Labour Union acknowledged the receipt of an assertive letter. Its Executive Council will review the correspondence before deciding on the proposed strike. Last week, the NLC accused the federal government of diverting 40% of NISTF contributions to the government's treasury. The NLC said the move undermined workers' social protection and demanded both an immediate refund and a full reconstitution of the National Pension Commission Board. The Minister of State for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Tanko Sonono, today says the federal government was committed to alleviating poverty in the country. Sonono, while in a televised interview today, said over 2 million poor households are being captured in the social net as they will receive the government's cash transfer soon.
Before the end of August, we are going to reach out to 2,219,000 households. We have all said, you see, the process is such that NASCO, National Social Safety Net Office, that will now harvest vulnerable Nigerians based on their lowest cadre in the National Social Register. And I'm now telling you that another 54 billion, 911 million, 850,000 will be dispersed at the end of August to almost 2,119,000 Nigerians households.
All right. He explained that the current administration had carried out interventions for the poor and vulnerable Nigerians. Nigerian lawyer Victor Giwara has defended the ruling of the Federal Canadian Courts to pronounce the Nigerian prominent political parties Progressives Congress, APC and People's Democratic Party, PDP as terrorist organization, are pointing out that certain activities by the two parties over the last decades have gone against the Canadian Criminal Code.
The intention of causing death, serious bodily harm, intimidation, risk to any life. They define such act of intimidation, any act that will lead to death or serious body harm, or that can put somebody in threat of death as a terrorist act under the Canadian Criminal Code.
In his words, he said that the All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party cannot appeal the ruling because they are not directly involved in the lawsuit. A former legal advisor of the People's Democratic Party, Mark Jacobs, has declared that Nigeria, this country, is moving backwards in terms of politics, and that Nigeria have gone back to the old-time era where the ruling party in the country that dictates the winner of elections in the country.
We are back to the old days of the stronger person will win the election anywhere. Stronger in terms of being in government or being in control of agencies of government.
He accused that the free flow and integrity of the election was compromised because of interference by the members of the agencies, who he said abducted PDP candidates and their supporters during the course of the election.
The PDP candidate for Chikun and Kajuru constituency being abducted by officials of government and 25 other people when they were preparing and strategizing on how to participate in the elections on Saturday. Government officials, agencies of security drove into the place where the candidate and her agents were meeting, preparing to deploy to the polling units, and took them captive. And we saw a situation where the candidate and her supporters, her key supporters who are strategizing, the strategy team, were taken away from the election or from participation until later in the day. And elections were being conducted without the participation of the candidates because agencies of government took them captive.
However, he challenged that winning through such means by the ruling party is not worth celebrating at all, claiming that it is not a positive development in the country. The Minister of Works, David Uwenzumai, has declared that every governor in the Southeast is fully behind President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's re-election bid in 2027. In a video shared yesterday, Umai says that all the governors of the Southeast are supporting the president for 2027. There's no governor in the Southeast that is not supporting the president. He also emphasizes that governors are in charge of the states. You see Anambra, you see Enugu, you've seen Ebonyi, and all that the government is doing, and the Abia and Imo, so they are very confident that they will write their history. Chukwuemeka Eze says Nigeria needs a political summit to address vote buying, manipulation, and electoral misconduct effectively. Speaking during an interview today, Eze emphasized that the absence of clear rules and accountability that had worsened the situation. He said that where there is no rule, there is no electoral offenses, tribunal, no accountability, and it will go on until there is a political summit.
There is no electoral offenses tribunal. People can take ballot boxes, allegations will be made, no accountability. I mean, definitely this thing will continue until there is a political summit and the outcome of that summit is reduced into a legislation acceptable by all parties.
Eze has called for a political summit in Nigeria to tackle electoral malpractices, vote buying, and voter manipulation. I warning that the challenges will persist without meaningful reform, and also the need to stop the winner takes it all in an election.
There is need to avoid a winner-takes-all in Nigeria. As long as we adopt this winner-takes-all attitude, the loser or the person who perceives himself that he will lose will do everything possible to ensure that he doesn't lose. More so considering the amount of money spent on elections. Hundreds of millions of naira, billions of naira, some people sell all their properties. And when they get involved, the society looks down.
He cautioned that Nigeria's winner-takes-all political culture continue to fuel desperation and misconduct during elections. The former Anambra State Governor, Peter Obi, has said those who sell their votes and mortgage their future are denying themselves and their children access to quality education, healthcare, and job opportunities. In a post shared on his X, Andrew Obi said eligible voters should not underestimate the power of their PVC, which he described as the voice of the voiceless, the shield of the weak, and the weapon of the poor against injustice and bad leadership. He emphasized that Nigerians must organize themselves to make election rigging difficult, warning against selling their votes, that the future of the nation is in the hands of the citizens, stressing that the greatest strength of democracy is in the voter's card. You're listening to News Express on Adamimogo 107.7 FM, transmitted live from Olojudo's Palace in Ekiti. After the break, Ekiti government reacts to victimization claims by sacked microcredit boss. Details of this and more when we return.
Hello, good people of Ekiti State and its environment. For your private, political, family, or club meetings, and so on, of not more than 50 to 100 participants, we introduce to you Adamimogo Event Hall. Yes, right at Olojudo's Palace. Adamimogo 107.7 FM's compound, Ido Ekiti. Ample parking space, good security, clean environment. You also have the opportunity to book for a media publicity of your events on our fast-growing social media platforms. All these for a talking. Simply visit us at Olojudo's Palace, Ido Ekiti, or call the following numbers for more inquiries: 0803-526-5812 or 0916-340-0878 or 0806-511-4430. You can also call 0806-380-8891 at Adamimogo Event Hall. We are waiting for your patronage.
Glad to know you're still there. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel via Adamimogo 107.7 FM for happenings around your news inquiries. Please call our newsroom on this number 0915-786-8095. And now to the rest of the bulletin. The Ekiti State government has dismissed the recent outburst by the former chairman of the Microcredit and Enterprise Development Agency, Akoguma Bayomi Olumide, who alleged that his dismissal was politically motivated. Olumide, popularly known as Losty, claimed he was being punished for throwing his weight behind a potential 2026 governorship aspirant, Kayode Ojo, a move he described as unfair and targeted.
I want to appeal to the members of the public that they are trying to witch hunt me. Everything you have read on the social media is a blatant lie. What I'm after as an Ekiti man is for the progress and development of Ekiti. I know Ekiti happened to be one of the dirtiest state capital in the whole federation without notable development, which is very, very bad. And the governor is not making himself available to us to advise him. We were the people that voted him at the first instance. He has made his younger brother to be the de facto governor. And there's no way I can subject myself under his brother, because his brother is not the person we voted for. I don't have an office, and there's no property in my care. I don't sign checks. I don't disburse money. No money was put into the agency. I don't know what they asked me to surrender. They started bringing different kind of stories that I collected 45 million naira contract from the government. So please, you can help me ask them who executed the contract, on what name the contract was awarded, where is the tender. There's no any iota of truth in any of their publications and what they have said so far.
However, speaking during an exclusive interview on Adamimogo FM's Current Affairs program, Follow Up, the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Mr. Olayinka Oyebode, described the claims as baseless. According to him, Olumide had received several warnings over issues bordering on insubordination and misconduct prior to his removal. You can't spank a child and expect him not to cry. End of quote. Oyebode said, suggesting the former chairman's reaction was predictable.
Okay, I think the man has been relieved of his duty, so you can't spank a child and say he or she should not cry. This is somebody who has been fired for gross incompetence and gross misconduct. So I'm not surprised that he's coming out to say this. He can see any wide allegation, but I can tell you these allegations are baseless. We're talking about Vadu Ekiti. Everybody knows the effort the government has put in place through the State Ministry of Environment and through the Environmental Agency. Now have Dino Beans across strategic locations, even in Ado Ekiti, so that people can have somewhere to dump their refuse. Hourly, you see trucks that were purchased by the state government coming in to pick those dino bins, dispose them properly, and return them there. There has been a conscious effort to ensure sanitation. If somebody has been fired and is now raising that as an allegation, it is baseless.
On a separate concerns about sanitation in Ado Ekiti, Oyebode refuted claims that the state capital is among the dirtiest in the country, saying the Oyebanji-led government through the Ministry of Environment had introduced the Dino Beans and renewed waste management efforts, measures he said were non-existent before the current administration came into office. Meanwhile, the Ekiti State government has intensified efforts to make agriculture more attractive by rolling out several policies designed to encourage farmers and investors in the sector. Appearing today on Adamimogo FM's Current Affairs show, The Follow Up, the Chief Press Secretary to the State Governor, Olayinka Oyebode, noted initiatives such as land clearing, tractorization, seedlings, distribution, agricultural extension training, security and arrangements, amongst others.
And the government has a policy of land clearing. land clearing policy tells that if you just show interest in farming, we want to encourage you by clearing the land. Once it's allocated to you, government is ready to clear it. As I speak to you, government has cleared close to 5,000 hectares. There's also a policy of tractorization, wherein after they've cleared the land for you, you have started planting and you want some measure of tractors to come and work on your side. Government also brought in partnership with some companies. They brought in their tractors. They also pay part of the money for you. Tractorize your farm. Government supported them, seedlings, high yielding seedlings. They also provide agricultural extension services to them, provided security. The other way about is building dormitories and all this cluster and all this farm settings, so that a young man there who goes to the farm can decide to stay around for 2, 3, 4, 5 days on the farm before coming to home. The biggest chunk there is the fact that even after you have planted, government is ready to be number one off taker.
According to the government, these measures are expected to strengthen food security, boost employment, and position agriculture as a key driver of economic growth in the state. Speaking further, reviewed further interventions of the Oyebanji's government in bridging infrastructure gaps as they are essential to creating an enabling environment for industrialization, job creation, and economic development, one of which is the independent power plants. Project is executed in collaboration with the federal government to boost energy supply in the states.
They tackle the issue of power infrastructure. First and foremost, ensuring that some of these communities are reconnected back to the national. Not less than about 16 communities that cut across 4 different local governments were reconnected to the national grid. In some communities, good number of transformers were supplied and they were also empowered. In some communities, it is actually a major contract of ensuring that they are reconnected to their power sources. At the end of the day, the government has spent close to 5 billion doing that, fixing power in these communities. The IPP, Independent Power Plant project of the state government, which is a PPP, public-private partnership with a very major company that has supplied power, uninterrupted power supply into some government institutions.
Oyebode also mentioned how the government has ensured that residents have access to prepaid meters at subsidized rates, a move designed to eliminate estimated billing and promote sustainability in energy consumption. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAB, has inaugurated a special committee to investigate cases of technology-driven malpractice detected during the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination (UTME). Inaugurating the 25-member Special Committee on Examination Infraction today in Abuja, JAM's Registrar, Prof. Ishak Oloyede, decried the rising sophistication of exam fraud, revealing that the result of 6,458 candidates remain under investigation for alleged involvement in high-tech cheating. He noted that malpractice has evolved into more technologically advanced forms, emphasizing the need for urgent action to protect exam integrity, and revealing that 141 standard cases have been referred to JAM's disciplinary committee. More serious infractions will be handled as extraordinary cases. The National Association of Polytechnic Students, NAPS, has announced a 3-day nationwide peaceful protest to demand safer highways following recent fatal accidents involving articulated vehicles, including one that left Auchi Polytechnic graduate Road Otabo severely injured. Barely days later, another road mishap allegedly claimed 3 lives and left several others. The students are calling for stricter road safety enforcement, medical support for victims, and infrastructure improvements in student communities. NAPS urged civil society groups and the public to support the campaign after failed attempts at dialogue with relevant authorities. The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, has lamented the funding shortfall while calling on Nigerians to get involved in local humanitarian efforts through donations, volunteering, and advocacy following the recent calls of funding by the U.S. government. The UNICEF chief of Maduguri Field Office, Francis Butich, during the 2025 World Humanitarian Day commemoration in Maduguri, highlighted the growing needs in flood-affected communities and IDP camps in the northeast, noting that out of the 255 million required for humanitarian operations in the 2025, only 95 million has been received, leaving a 67% funding gap. Despite the funding shortfall, Buttigieg says the organization has delivered health services to over 1.3 million people, supported communities with essential care and services through multi-sectoral interventions in the Northeast, while calling on donors and the governments to boost support by increasing funding. And on business scene, Naira threatens a 1 million Naira fine, 12-month jail term for insurance violators. Ayomido Ogumodede is there.
Good evening and welcome to Business Update. Landlords and occupiers of public buildings across the country will be fined 1 million naira, jail for 12 months if they fail to insure their properties against hazard, according to the newly signed Nigeria Insurance Industry Reform Act. According to the new law copy, stated that all public buildings must be insured against risks such as collapse, fire, earthquake, storm, flood, and such other hazards, as the National Insurance Commission may determine. In addition to protecting life and properties, insurance policies are required to cover the legal liabilities of landlords and occupiers for bodily injuries, death, and damage suffered by users of the premises and third parties. Still on business, the Nigerian government has reportedly made two key demands of the Nigeria Labour Congress amid a strike ultimatum. Also demanded diversion of workers, fund domicile with the NSITF, and the constitution of the Pencom Board. The demand are the reversal of the 40% deducted from Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund into the National Treasury, and the appointment of Okoyemi Agbaye as chairman of the National Pension Commission. In a statement last week by the NLC President Chwe Ajaero has issued a 7-day notice to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to shut down the economy. However, the report shows that the federal government has acted upon the demands. In a statement to the NLC dated August 16, 2025, NSITF Managing Director Oluwaseun Faleye confirmed that the Federal Ministry of Finance circular reference FMFCME/orders/IGR/CFR/21/2021 dated December 28, 2023 introduced the policy of automatic deduction of 50% from the international generated revenues of all federal government-owned enterprises. That is all on Business Update. I am Hayomidi Ogumodede.
All right, thank you, Yomide Ogumodede. In the international world, says Zelensky, Russia must end war. Ade to New York, Adebayo, you stand by.
Good evening and welcome to Foreign News. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky said it was up to Russia to end its invasion ahead of high-stake talks today with US counterpart Donald Trump, which pressuring Ukraine to give up Crimea and abandon its NATO ambitions. The comment came hours after Zelensky and European leaders were scheduled to meet Trump in Washington, a follow-up to the summit between Trump and Putin in Alaska on Friday that failed to produce a ceasefire. Still on foreign, fresh torrential rain in northern Pakistan killed at least 20 people today as the region is ravaged by an unusual intense monsoon season that has left more than 300 people dead in recent days. Torrential rain across the country's north have caused flooding and landslide that have swept away entire villages, leaving many residents trapped in the rubble and around 200 still missing. And that's all on Foreign News. My name is Adetiniyo Adebayo.
Thank you, Day to New York. On the showbiz wall, Cubana chief priest finally reacts a paternity scandal, succumbs to DNA pressure. Join Victoria Banwo.
Good evening and welcome to Entertainment News. Nollywood actor Jim Iyke has started debates after declaring that single mothers cannot raise boys into proper men without the involvement of a male figure. The actor, speaking in a recent interview in Accra, Ghana, argued that women are not built to raise men on their own and require a male influence in the process of bringing up a male child. According to him, while men are naturally nurturing, this quality alone is insufficient in instilling discipline and resilience in a male child. Still on Entertainment News, Nigerian nightlife entrepreneur Pascal Okechukwu, popularly known as Cubana Chief Priest, has once again denied allegations that he fathered a child with Kenyan woman Ellen Ati. The celebrity Brahman, during a conversation with content creator Pega, challenged Ellen to bring the child to Nigeria if she is convinced he is the father, rather than resorting to public dramas and accusations. Cubana Chief Priest dismissed Ellen's claims, stating that having a child with him would be more valuable than possessing diamonds. He dared Ellen to bring the child to Nigeria for a DNA test, emphasizing that fatherhood is a serious matter and should not be used for online clout or revenge. And that's all on Entertainment News. I am Victoria Banwu.
In the world of sports, Napoli confirms Lukaku won't return to action until November. Mayo Waolashui is waiting to give details.
Good evening and welcome to Sports Updates. Belgian striker Romelu Lukaku will miss Napoli's opening fixture of their Serie A title defense after suffering a thigh injury which could keep the Belgian striker out for months. Napoli, who traveled to promoted Sassuolo on Saturday, said in a statement that Lukaku had suffered a serious tear in his left thigh during Thursday's preseason friendly with Olympiacos. No indication over how long Lukaku will be sidelined was given by Napoli, but according to reports, he could be out of action until November. Still on sports, Brazilian star Neymar left the pitch in tears after his boyhood club Santos endured a humiliating 6-0 home defeat to Vasco da Gama, which happens to be the heaviest loss of Neymar's professional career. The defeat marked the first time in history that Santos had conceded 6 goals at home in a Brazilian Serie A match, plunging the once dominant side into crisis and leaving them just 2 points clear of the relegation zone. The 8-time champions also sacked their coach, Sleba Xavier, hours after the game on Sunday. And that's all on Sports Updates. My name is Mayowa Olashui.
And with our sports story, we come to the end of today's edition of News Express. On Adamimogo 107.7 FM, Molojudo's Palace, Ido Ekiti. Just before we go, the highlights again. We told you that the federal government has pledged to reverse deductions from the employees' compensation scheme managed by the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund to ease tensions with the Nigerian Labour Congress NLC following the threat of a nationwide strike by the union. Remember, a former legal advisor of the People's Democratic Party, Mark Jacobs, has declared that Nigeria is a country moving backwards in terms of politics, and that Nigeria have gone back to the old-time era where the ruling party in the country that it takes the winner of elections in the country. And lastly, the form showed that the state government has dismissed the recent outburst by the former chairman of the Microcredit and Enterprise Development Agency, Akogwa Bayomi Olumide, who allegedly says that his dismissal was politically motivated. And that's News Express from Adamimogo 107.7 FM, Molojudo's Palace, Ido Ekiti, on behalf of the production crew led by Mayo